Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joyofbaking.com. Today we're going to make a banoffee pie. This is a wonderful combination of pastry crust, bananas, toffee, and whipped cream. It is just delicious. The word banoffee comes from the combining of the word banana and toffee. And this is a UK dessert invented about 1972 at a restaurant called the Hungry Monk. And we're going to start this with the shortbread crust. Actually, I'm using a shortbread crust, but you could also use a graham cracker crust. And what I've done here, there is a recipe along with a video on the site for the shortbread crust, and you want to bake it and then cool it completely. And then we're going to use, for the toffee part, we're going to use dulce de leche. And again, there is a recipe for making it homemade on the site along with the video if you'd like to do that, or you could just buy it. It's either sold in cans or jars or a tub of that if you don't want to go through the trouble of making it. And what we're going to do is put the toffee layer on top of the cooled crust. Now, if you would like to add a little chocolate to this, which is always good, toffee and chocolate and shortbread and bananas, what you could do is just take a couple ounces, about 2 ounces of like semi-sweet chocolate, which is about 60 grams. Just melt that and then brush the crust with that chocolate and then let it set if you want to do that. I'm just going to do it the classic recipe and just do it with the toffee. And you need about a cup. I mean, you could vary that if you wanted not as thick, you could use less. You could really vary this recipe a lot depending on what you want to do. But I'm using about a cup, which is 240 milliliters of the dulce de leche. And I made this, so it's really nice caramel flavor to it. So just spread that out. And then next is bananas. Now we want to use, we don't want to use ripe bananas. We want to use the firm ones because we want to cut. And I've cut them into about 1/4 inch slices and about 2 to 3 large. I mean, you really can vary how thick. Some people like a double layer of bananas. I just want like a single layer. So how many bananas that takes? 2 to 3. And you want to assemble this dessert shortly before serving. Like you can make the components ahead of time. You can make the shortbread crust quite a few days ahead. You can make if you're making your own dulce de leche, you can make that up to a month. I mean, it lasts a long time in the fridge. And then, so assembling this is really easy. Because the reason you want to do it shortly before serving, because as you know, bananas, once they're cut, they start to turn brown. I mean, you could put it in the fridge, and brown bananas, they still taste good, but they're not as nice looking, of course. So I'm just going to put a little extra layer here to use all these bananas up. Actually, I think I'm going to do a kind of nice thick layer of bananas. Some people like to do the bananas in long slices. It's another option you can do. So, see, just might as well use the whole thing. So I'm going to pile it on here. Okay, and the final layer is whipped cream, which of course goes good with all the rest of the pie. So we're taking 1 1/4 cups, which is 300 milliliters of heavy cream. That you may know that is double cream, and that is cream with a 35 to 40% butterfat content, which is cream that when you beat it, it whips up and holds stiff peaks. And then to that, I'm just going to sweeten it with a couple tablespoons of confectioner's sugar, or maybe you know that as powdered or icing sugar. And then I like to put the bowl and the whisk attachment in the freezer for about 15 minutes so it gets really cold, so then it helps whip that cream. So we just want to put it on high speed and whip it till soft peaks. Okay, so that's what you're looking for. Nice stiff peaks. Now this is a more casual dessert. Some people call it comfort food. So I'm just going to pile the cream on top. If you wanted to get fancy, you could put it in a pastry bag and pipe stars or swirls. But because it's a nice casual dessert, I'm just going to pile it up on top. As you can see, once you have the components all made for this dessert, it's really easy to assemble. And it is really good. Okay. And then just kind of smooth this out. Now if you had some extra dulce de leche, you could just kind of warm it up and drizzle it over the top. And I believe the original recipe called for coffee, and so you could sprinkle some instant coffee powder over the top of this if you like. You could also decorate the top with some more sliced bananas, but I'm just going to take some cocoa powder and just sprinkle it over the top. Like I said, you could serve this immediately, or you could pop it in the fridge for a few hours. Doesn't that look wonderful? So, until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com.